Yeah?
Boys and girls, today we're going to continue our discussion of Virgil's epic poem, the Aeneid. I would invite you to open your texts to the first book, and approximately the 534th line. That's how we should conduct class. That's how we should do class.
Every day.
Every day.
Like you could say that way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Hello.
Oh, I feel that if I did that, it would necessitate a pipe of some sort. I feel that a pipe would be required there. And as both Brownsville Station and Motley Crue sang, everybody knows that smoking ain't allowed in school.
Well, smoking in the boys' room.
There you go.
If it's just a pipe, it'd be fine.
You know what? I'm pretty sure not.
Like just the pipe. No, like
What
no,
about-
no,
I mean,
no,
nothing-
no,
Oh, you mean an empty pipe?
Yes.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wait, where's
That makes no sense. That's like having an empty gun.
Yeah, electronic.
Why would you have?
That makes sense. If you take out
Right.
the empty gun, the person thinks, oh, he's about to shoot me, run
Yeah.
away.
Right.
And it's a good self-defense.
And don't mess with me. I shot shotguns and rifles and crossbows this weekend, so I had a great time. Who's your outdoor experience?
Kill anything?
Every September.
Weekend?
No.
Kill anything.
Target shooting every September.
Good
The
man.
Indiana Department of Natural Resources hosts a 2-day event right over here near LC High School, Fort Ben Harrison State Park.
Natural
Huge opportunity. Free to the public, everything, including the parking. There's fishing, hiking stuff, climbing stuff, tennis, golf, all the shooting sports, basically all the outdoor rec and nature stuff, and it's to get people interested in the state parks and all the great, wonderful resources we have in Indiana.
They have you shooting
And,
things?
and there was a range, yeah, and we did shotgun, we did air rifles, we did crossbows and recurve bows, and it was awesome sauce.
Next year, tell me.
It's really
So-
sad.
I need, several people have said that, I wish I had mentioned
Well,
it
they
last
just-
week.
yeah, I wanted to go to
targets, or were
that.
they like?
What's that?
Were they just standing targets, or did they have?
The shotgun was launched clay discs, then everything else was
See, you
was
get
standing
those.
targets.
Wait for it to land and then just shoot it. Shut up.
Okay,
Never mind, speak like that.
speaking of none of that, let's return to the text. Big ol' Ilioneus talking to Dido, talked about this strange land that the Grai di Quintesperiam in line 530. He says there's a place, the Greeks call it what? Hesperia, the western land. A bunch of people call it the Oinotri, Caluera, the vine landers. Yes, the vine tillers cultivated, and later on it came known as Italia, the land of King Italus. And he says, we were headed here, cum subito, top of the page, line 535, cum subito, ad surgens fluctu nimbosus orion in vada caecotulit, when subito, when suddenly, ad surgens fluctu.
A rising wind?
Let's get that very precise. A rising fluctu. What case is fluctu?
Ablative?
Ablative. So you got a verb of motion, and the ablative case, you could reasonably assume what use of the ablative.
Oh, place
Place.
two. No, from.
Place from. Place to which is accusative. When suddenly, arising from the ocean, nimbosus Orion.
Stormy Orion.
Stormy Orion. Now, I gotta say, I like this. Remember one of the things of SwimTag, that acronym we gave you for how you might write an essay. The W of SwimTag stands for both word order and word choice. You tell me, before I say anything, what strikes you about the word order of line 535? When suddenly, arising from the waves, stormy Orion.
The subject's the last word.
Subject's the last word. What's the point of that? Why would you do that?
Build suspense. Yeah.
Build suspense. Build suspense. I mean, gradually right away, when suddenly what? I'm not going to tell you. When suddenly, what's arising from the waves? Well, I'm getting there. When suddenly arising the waves, this stormy what? Would you hold on? Stormy Orion.
What's that vision?
Right, so it builds up suspense.
For an entire
Isn't Orion a constellation?
Something that takes
Yeah.
5 seconds to say.
Yeah, constellation whose rising and setting come in the rainy season.
I can't tell.
Now, now listen.
You're poking fun.
I'm not that poking fun. I'm reading the note. That's what I'm doing. I'm reading the footnote, which is, something you guys can do too. It says right there, constellation whose rising and setting come in the rainy season.
Haha. So I was right. Basically, I'm a
It's
genius.
explainable.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
You said nothing. I read a footnote. How does
No,
that translate
I was
into
like,
you being a
isn't
genius?
Orion a constellation? You were like, yeah, the constellation.
Everybody
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
Orion's a constellation, Christian.
Nuh-uh. Not people like in the south.
Where they see Orion spelled all the time.
Let's just move right along.
on.
Listen, I was talking to a couple of our independent study students, and we don't want to call out names because this is going to be on the video, but Maya and Amy. I asked them, I said, so the videos, when you watch them, does it help you? And they said, yes, although we fast forward 2 parts. What? I said? They said, yes, when you get off track. I said, now listen here. I said, the off track stuff is very much important. They said, no, basically when you talk about Cooper. So they fast forward the Cooper parts. And now, well, no, and they actually had a Christian as well. And they said, so basically anything to do with Cooper or Christian, they fast forward through. So yes.
I'm not going to see it.
Caleb.
Subject to fast forwarding through this right now, so they probably won't see it.
Yeah, sadly, they're not going to see any of this. That's-
Hey, Maya and Amy, I hate you.
Whoa!
I've been wanting to say that for 3 young years, guys.
Bad use of technology, son.
You don't even
But suddenly rising to the wave is stormy Orion. And the stormy Orion, what did he do? He in water kaika tulit
In the shallow.
into the kaika shallows. Into the darker hidden. Really, Caicus is blind. Appius Claudius Caicus, right? The guy who built the Appian Way. Appius Claudius the blind. It's the same adjective. It's into the blind shallows. In other words, we didn't see him there. In stormy Orion, Tulit, it's implied us or our ships.
Held us.
Not so much held, but
Scattered.
Pharaoh, Tulilatus.
Throw.
I don't remember.
Let's get the precise sense of that. Pharaoh. To bring or
Carry.
to bear or to carry, right? So literally, it's not even that he drove them there, but it's almost like the storm, right, picks the ships up and just carried them bore them along into these blind shallows. And with the Procacibus Austris, with the boisterous Austris, south winds, per undas, through the waves, with the salo superante. Let me tell you, you never want your sal superons. You know what I'm saying?
Is that like supposed to be a?
There's nothing. It was nothing. It was a pure nothing. Humorous nothing.
Apparently it wasn't humor.
I was trying to. Like,
Apparently
get
not,
something
no.
from
It was
but
nothing.
then I was like,
There was nothing there.
okay.
Through the waves with the salo superante.
See.
With the sea overcoming, right? You never want the sea up above you. Okay? If you're sailing along, you want the sea to be where it belongs, below you.
What about a sea
If
of
the
stars?
salt sea is rising up this high, right? And he said it before, or Virgil had used that image before, right? Where the sea was towering over them, they could even see the very bottom of the ocean below. He says, through the waves with the salt sea superante, and through Invia Saxa,
Through pathless rock.
through pathless rocks. Orion is still the subject. Orion dispulit, implied us.
Orion scattered us.
Orion scattered us. Notice, as you're paying attention to your grammar, can't lose the grammar for all the sense of it. Orion's the subject of what two verbs in 535 and following? Tulit and dispula, right? Hook, hauki, westris at navimus oris. Hook, what's hook mean? Hither, to this place, says Ilioneus. Pauki, just a few guys, we few guys, ad navimus. We ad navimus.
By ship.
No. We floated or swam. Notice you got your vocabs right there. Ad no. No, nare, navi, natus, right? The root of natatorium. We've got one. Spectacular natatorium here. A few of us guys, we swam to Westris Oris. We swam to your shores. Now,
Wait, why?
here's the thing. Here's something that I could easily see somebody mistranslating, line 538. Bet you anything, people would translate this on the AP exam if you got this passage. Hither a few men swam to your shores. And that would be wrong. That sounds right, and certainly fits with what he's been saying. What's wrong with that? A few men swam to your shores. Danielle?
Well, you added men.
Okay.
And is it?
It's gotta be a-
few.
That's the key. It's we few. Because navimus is what person and number?
First person.
First person plural. And I gotta be honest,
No, I would have gotten
well, and I hope you would, but I gotta say, I think in English, we don't do a whole lot of first person or second person verbs with adjectives. We used to, and it feels that almost sounds like a little bit older, you know. We few people came to the shore, you know. We just don't do that as much. And I think you're much more used to an adjective going with a third person verb. A few guys did this. And so don't mistake that. Pay attention to that. Now we must.
Well, I mean,
I think that does come up though in like political rhetoric. They,
Oh, yes, in rhetoric and speeches. Right. You're right, it does. Then, says Ilioneus, he's asking a question to Dido. He says, Quod genus hoc hominum? There's an implied est in there somewhere.
What race of man is this?
What race of men is this? Where are we here? Quae vunc tam barbara morem permitted patria? Or he says, what tam barbara patria?
What such barbaric
What such barbaric patria?
country?
What such a barbaric country permitted hunc morem? Allows this custom. We're going to find out, and Aeneas is going to find out over the next few lines, and it's not really spelled out super clearly, that this other party who has landed here has apparently run afoul, maybe of some of the Carthaginians. And these guys have now come before the queen, and these guys are begging for their life, and they're saying, you know what, we're just poor wayfaring strangers here. You know, you're supposed to show a little hospitality. You know, all of us kind of have the same basic notion of that in our part of the world here, and you guys didn't treat us very well. Some of your men didn't, and that's what's implied here when Ilioneus makes his charge against the queen. Now, I certainly think, from Aeneas' perspective, this has to comfort him a little bit, because now he's beginning to realize, like, oh, okay, these guys definitely are not in some sort of league or cahoots with Dido and already doing some sort of thing. Yes?
Very quick question. For the declension, do we need the long mark over the U.S.?
For the genitive
Genitive.
singular of both, of all genders, and for the nominative and accusative plural of masculine and feminine. Yep.
Okay.
Okay? What kind of people are you? Hospitio prohibemur horrena, he says. He says, we are prohibemur.
Weird.
We are denied. And with the word prohibio, you very often will have an ablative of separation. We are denied, or we're prevented from, or we're kept away from the hospitio horrena, the hospitality of the sand. We weren't even really allowed to set up a camp on the beach. So you can imagine, and Again, I'm trying to remember, and I'm embarrassed I remember the movie better than I remember the poem at this point. But back to Beowulf. Somebody who could tell us, is this in the poem? I know in the movie, when Beowulf and his boys land, there's a guard from King Edgtha who greets them at the sand and basically walks up and uses, you go tell your King Beowulf, so I'm here to slay your monster. That's in the poem too, so there's a guard there. So certainly not unreasonable, the notion that there would have been Carthaginian guards along the shoreline, and as these guys have crash landed, obviously at a somewhat separate distance from Aeneas, that these people said, who are you? You've come to attack or something, and maybe then brought them to the city under even guard, perhaps. And Ilioneus really kind of challenges that. He says, "Si genus humanum et mortalia temnitas arma." He says, if you, temnitas, if you despise the genus humanum, the human race. If I don't know, I look like I don't know what your deal is. Maybe you just hate people. I don't know. If you despise the human race and mortalia arma, and mortal weapons, right? The weapons of men. And by the way, if you look at the arrangement, genus humanum mortalia arma, you find a what?
Arm.
Chiasmus, says David, very good. Noun, adjective, adjective, noun, right?
Okay, wait, can you say that? How do you spell Caius?
Good. Chiasmus.
Which
An
line?
ABB arrangement of words.
Which line?
What's that?
Which line?
Okay.
41.
Yeah.
Can I just get what you're doing?
Because I
No.
came up earlier,
okay, so
and we
42.
I don't remember.
542.
It came up in an earlier line. It was a similar structure, but they on this one they have extra words in there. It seems, and it was that wasn't considered a chiasmus. I don't remember sign was. Sorry.
It may just be we didn't draw. Did we just not draw attention to it, or
Well,
what?
I brought it up and you were like, no, I don't think it is, but maybe it wasn't the same words. But I don't know. I don't see the chiasmus because it seems like it's broken up with other words involved. So.
And chiasmus usually is broken up with other words. Here's it. Chiasmus can be just about anything. It can be like a part of speech. Verb, noun, noun, verb. In this case, it's noun, adjective, adjective, noun. It could be, say, like all nouns, but by case. Maybe it's accusative, genitive, genitive, accusative. Could be like that. So there's really infinite variety of a pattern there. He says, look, I don't know what your deal is. Maybe you just hate everybody. Maybe you hate human beings and the things of human beings, mortalia arma. But at least, sperate Deus memores fanda quinde fandi. He says at least, sperate. Here you really want the second definition that they give you there. Expect. Make sure you're staying, Mickey. Make sure you're staying with
Oh yeah, I am.
your task here, cowboy. All right. He says, expect.
I was daydreaming.
Deus is accusative, and I don't know, maybe throw in an infinitive essay there, perhaps.
The gods.
Expect that the gods are memores. Now, this is the same word that described the anger of Juno back early on.
So unforgiving.
Unforgiving. Mindful, right? He says, you better expect, lady, that the gods are mindful. They don't forget that which is fondi and nefondi. That which is right and that which is not right. Now, I got to tell you, that doesn't get the job done, right and not right. While it can be translated with that, it's just far, far too weak. And I'm just going to indulge for a moment. I know I'm going off camera, but that's all right. Won't be long. Hello.
Well, maybe Mickey could.
No. Mickey's doing something else.
Keep his
Mickey's doing
job.
something else.
Yeah.
Let's here, pass these out. There's 4. Yeah. Here's 6. How many we got? How many people we have?
We have 10.
10, 9.
We have 9 today.
9.
Let's go with
We
this
have
one.
12 back here.
7.
Yes.
Let's go 8.
Katie, yeah.
And
Red letters out of it.
what the hey? Let's
Oh,
go.
I'm just passing them.
Okay.
Or whatever, get a blue one.
There you go. You know what? You just show gratitude to Brenda for passing them out to you.
Good job, Brad.
Brenda Salazar, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now,
Give me that one.
here's what I want you to do.
The woman who's almost
Get
a consul.
over to this section, find this section. This is book 1, line 543. So try to get to that section of your translation. And I want to hear
No, that's too much.
each translator's version of, but expect that the gods are mindful, fandi atque ne fandi. So book 1, line 543.
I like mine.
Okay? I want everybody to get it first, because then I just want to go right around the room quickly. Does everybody have it?
Yeah.
Who has not found it yet?
Who's not bad?
What part specifically?
I really just want that line where he's, right after he says, basically, what kind of people are you? We've been, what kind of barbaric nation gives a question like this? If you despise the human race and mortalia arma, the line I want is 543. But expect that the gods are mindful of fandi atque ne fandi. Has everybody found it? Has everybody not found it?
I haven't found it.
You have not found it. All right. Let me help you.
No, this is fine.
The lines aren't always going to be.
Cooper's is really bizarre.
Cooper, can I see it? To some of the
Respect.
lines.
Oh my goodness, this is-
Okay.
Hey, yeah.
He's got a really weird one.
Okay.
I think it's way far past 540.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, it's not going to be the
It's,
same
five-
line.
Don't translate while you're wrong.
Yeah.
They don't do it.
You're right.
Yeah, it's 7 bars right
You're right here.
And then you.
Despise more, yet you must know. Must you know the gods. Okay. Keep your eye on the Latin.
Yeah.
Keep your eye on the Latin. Aspirate Deus memores fundatque ne fandi. And I want to go right around the room. And what do you have?
The line.
Yep.
So look yet for God's remembering right and wrong.
Look yet for gods who are mindful. What's it say?
Look yet for God's remembering right and wrong.
Remembering right and wrong. And they said right and wrong. Okay?
That's stupid.
Okay, what do you got?
Be sure the gods remember good and evil.
Remember, be sure the gods remember good and evil. Ramped up the negative one there. Yes.
Be assured, gods remember what's holy and what is unholy.
What's holy and what is unholy. Back to Marcus.
Yet look to the gods who remember both good deeds and evil.
Good deeds and evil. Again, Marcus and Christians both kind of ramped up the negative one to evil and left the other one just as good. Coop.
Yet must you know the gods are mindful evermore of right and wrong.
Yet must you know. The gods are mindful, again, right and wrong, same thing as Danielle had. John.
But think of the gods who see right and wrong and do not forget.
You see right and wrong and don't forget. Again, we're staying with right and wrong there. Yep.
At least respect the gods. They know right and wrong. They don't forget.
They know right from wrong. Okay. What do you say there, Rachel?
May the gods that any powers above look down on the pious. If there is any justice in your word, may the gods in your good conscience reward you as you deserve.
I think that's your passage.
Let's say, whoa! They're between the lines. I mean, it's look at the
Here's mine.
Are you shooting me, boo? No, thanks.
Put the gods right here.
She deserves it.
Okay, she's got it. Listen.
But the gods will remember good and evil.
Okay, again, good, strengthening the negative one. Yes?
Respect the gods who are mindful of good actions and of evil.
Okay. I'm okay with evil. The only one I thought to me that really got it was David's. And hold on a second, that is hold on a second. Shoot, it's the same at the same time as the Sarah Rudin.
Why Saracens?
I know you do.
Last name starts with an A.
All, Frederick All. Say that one again. Or you if you're
Yeah, no, I got it. I already marked it. So, He said, "Be assured, gods remember what's holy and what is unholy."
I think that captures Fondi, and they Fondi much better than simple right and wrong. Right and wrong, to me,
Kind of like law.
can have two. It can be law. It might just simply be pure custom. But again, fa from for fari. We've talked about this so many times now, right? What Jupiter has spoken, right? And so he's really calling her. He's saying, "Look, lady, if you despise hospitality, that is really going against divine law. You borderline blasphemy here. This is borderline what is unholy, and the gods remember. The gods remember." He's really tying it into this very holy thing here. He says, "Now, Rex erat Aeneas nobis." He says, "We had a king, Aeneas." Line 544. Now, you explain to me, how on earth could I translate Rex erat Aeneas nobis as we had a king, Aeneas? How could I get that out of those four Latin words? Nobis is a dative plural from first person pronoun. Nos, nostrum, nobis, nos, nobis. Yep.
I was gonna say like, so the king of Aeneas, it was like, and have movies, which meant to reflex back into that.
Yep. Yeah. I think you're right on, Christian.
Aeneas erat nobis rex.
Right, but here's the thing. Literally, that means there was. Yep,
No, because
Rachel.
Aeneas can be.
The previous Earth.
Well, it's certainly implied there. Here's the deal. A dative and a form of sum will often go together to make a dative of possession. All right? We've seen it before, but let me throw it out there again. A dative, especially with a form of sum, will often go together to make a dative of possession. Usually, what's the case of possession? Genitive case. All right? Very simply, abuimus regem. We had a king. Regem being in what case? Accusative. Or there was, rex in the nominative, a king, dative of possession for us. There was a king for us. Now, we don't, that doesn't sound right in English. It's a grammatically correct sentence, but it doesn't work. It's stylistic. So we would never want to say there was a king for us. We would want to translate that as if it had been habuimus regem. There was a king for us, we had a king. Okay? Now, the other thing is, dative of possession is very often used with something very personal, okay? Like a characteristic or a name or something like that. And so he's talking about their king. There's a very personal relationship here. Talking about how much Aeneas means to them. He says, we had a king, Aeneas. Quo justior alter, nec pietate fuit, nec bello major et armis.
Whom none was more.
What'd you say?
Said whom none.
Okay. Now, this is tricky. Let's jump to the justior for a minute. Justior is what? Degree adjective. Comparative. Now, what kind of ablative? We've got two ablatives that are often used with a comparative degree adjective. The than one, which is ablative of
Respect.
comparison, ablative of comparison. Blanker than blank, right? Justior than quo. And the other one is ablative of degree of difference. This is definitely the ablative of comparison. Talking about Aeneas. He was justior. We're talking about somebody being more just than quo.
Then you?
No, then
no one more just.
Okay.
Then which?
Yeah, okay, now you get it. The quo is relating to whom? No.
More
Yep.
just.
So it's gonna be when he continues down, like, how do I say it? So like, the implied, like, yeah.
This is tricky. Now we do this in English sometimes, but even still, it's rare and it's tricky. All right. Erat rex nobis Aeneas, there was a king for us, Aeneas, quo Justior, than whom more just
With
alter
alter.
nec pietate fuit, than whom another was not more just in respect to loyalty.
Could you repeat that? That's wild.
Now, it is wild. Okay. If you've done, anybody probably know if you've done critical thinking. If anything, you do too. Okay. All right.
I'm in it.
Who you're in it?
I
Okay.
am.
You may get there.
Caitlin's in it as well, so I'll just be your voice.
Okay.
Caitlin's in every AP class ever.
Critical thinking is not
Well,
Saint Anselm, 11th century. Okay. First of all, I think that'd be that'd have been a great century to live in. If nothing else, that the dates were like 1099. I just think that's a great date for a year. It just sounds so weird. As I lived in the year 1062. That's just weird. Anyway, it's not weird, but it is. Okay.
you saw a new millennium coming.
That was really cool too. I mean,
Why are you
know,
gonna be
actually,
like,
that'd be
oh,
terrifying.
Richard,
no, it was cool. It's Anne. All right, Saint Anselm.
stupid.
Saint Anselm. Across the history of time, cultures, religions, and philosophies, there have been various proofs of the existence of a divine being. Okay? Honestly, this is more in the realm of philosophy than theology. Okay? Theology would say take the existence of God as an article of faith. Philosophy tries to prove things based on rational propositions. If this, then this, and so forth. And Aristotle had a proof of the existence of God, and Anselm had a proof of the existence of God, and there's a bunch of different ones. Anselm's concludes ultimately that God is that, I was going right now. God is that than which no greater can be conceived. That is actually a very beautiful way to state something in English grammar, just as this quo justior. It's a very succinct, very tight, grammatical way of saying something. What he's saying is, whatever is the greatest thing you can think of, that's God. All right? God is that thing than which no greater can be conceived. So let's say, for example, you think of your teddy bear, and you say, this is the greatest thing I know, and my teddy bear is so super, super wonderful, and I love my teddy bear loves me, and this is the greatest thing ever, and that's the greatest thing you said. And I go, you know what? A greater thing would be a teddy bear that could actually move. You go, okay, well then that would be the greatest thing, so then that would be God. And then someone else would come along, well, how about a teddy bear that could actually move and talk? You go, okay, well that would actually be even greater. All right, so you're trying to get to that greatest thing, right? That than which no greater can be conceived. It's the same exact grammatical construction as we have here. Aeneas is a king than which no other more just in respect to loyalty can be found. In other words, what's he saying about his king Aeneas? He's the most just and the most loyal. There is nobody to top this guy. Yes.
Just in regards to loyalty.
Yeah, well,
Alright, okay.
Well, all right. What does that mean? Just in regards to loyalty. I could be just in regards to the law.
Yeah.
Right? I could be following the letter of the law exactly. He's talking about him being just in regards to loyalty. Look at how he deals with his people, right? Yes.
I was just a question, it may make sense or not, but like, for this one, since it's Aeneas, like, comma, quo, and it's an it's like an antecedent, because there's the quo, and then it's like broken off by the commas.
Aeneas is the antecedent of quo.
Okay.
Quo is the relative pronoun.
Right, and so it's like, okay, I guess it makes more sense then.
There was a king for us, Aeneas, than whom there was not another more just in respect to piety.
Right,
Loyalty.
so is it like it's like you have Aeneas, and then you have like the than whom, so it's like you have the
That's
than
right.
which, so it's like you're going like, you have than, and then it's like another like relative clause.
That's what it is. Now, in all honesty, that's pretty high level English, even if you choose to do it that way. I think simpler English would probably break it up into 2 sentences. We had a king named Aeneas, period. No one was more just than this guy.
Or if just saying like.
We would casual English would break it up into 2 sentences. But you can, even in English, put that into 1 sentence. And I will say it's a very, I particularly like that phrasing. I just like it because of its succinctness. And it's rare that we can actually put something together that tightly in English.
So with like that, it's by not saying essentially like not comparing it to an actual noun, like God is not that thing, the thing isn't there. So that just means like infinitely everything
Yes.
ever. That's
Right.
crazy. Okay, that's
Okay. And not only was nobody was more just than this guy in respect to loyalty, but no one was major. No one was greater in respect to bello. War. And let's face it, armies. Weapons. All right, Aeneas could lace on some brass knuckles, pull out a switchblade, and go toe-to-toe with anybody in the alley, man. This guy can knock heads, all right?